Standing on the brake with my left foot, standing on the accelerator with my right foot. Absolutely nothing happens, even in sport mode, and we lift off the brake. Ramps into the power. It's not like immediate or instantaneous. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2025 Kia Niro Hybrid in the SX Touring trim. And this answers the question, what if you need a very practical, stylish, well-equipped hybrid that is very efficient, but Toyota just is not your style? Enter the Kia Niro, and in this video, I'm going to take you on a tour and a quick drive. Before we jump too far into this one, according to YouTube analytics, something like 70+% of you have yet to hit that subscribe button, and we are so close to 50,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, so a quick click of a button down there will help our channel out immensely in our goal of helping more families research and buy their next vehicle. I first want to say a huge thanks to Kia for bringing me this Niro Hybrid to test out in a week that they also flew me to Louisville, Kentucky to test out their hybrid version of their very popular and longest running nameplate in the Kia Sportage. You can go check that video out, but this undercuts that Sportage in size and does one-up it in its overall fuel economy. This is a very efficient little crossover, if you want to call it that. I think of it more as a hatchback because it is very car-like in all of its design, construction, size, etc. But popping the hood, we do get the 1.6 liter four-cylinder under the hood, mated to a hybrid electric motor, though unlike what is in that Kia Sportage, this Niro does not have the turbocharged version. We have the naturally aspirated 1.6 liter four-cylinder making 139 horsepower, which is less, but 195 pound-feet of torque, which is what we see from the turbo version of the non-hybrid variant of this powertrain. It does send power down to the front wheels via a 6-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, of which we will talk about how that performs here in a little bit when we're actually driving it. Suffice it to say, yes, I am getting over 40 mpg in my testing with this, and the EPA rates it much higher than that on regular fuel. This is an efficient son of a gun. And yes, because it's not turbo, because it's not an SUV, it has less weight to carry around, it's definitely more efficient than that Sportage, though you pay a little penalty in overall size as well. Closing the hood, we can talk about the styling of this. You can see, yes, it's smaller than the Sportage, and it is more car-like. It really is a boxy hatchback more than it is an SUV or crossover. But I really do like the design, the look of it. It is very handsome without being over-styled. You can see we get all LED lights, LED turn signals, and the like up here, LED fog lights. And then a very handsome front end design that pairs well with this runway red. This is like my 5th in a run of red vehicles to test here on my home turf, and I'm absolutely loving that automakers are battling it out for who can do the best red paint. Yes, while that new Prius is svelte and some might say sexy, it definitely leans into the fact that it is a car, whereas the Kia designers with this Niro, even though it really is a car, are calling it more of an SUV. Thanks to its boxy-like styling, I think it will have a more wide appeal to those who don't want a hatchback, who truly do want something more SUV-like. It just has a little bit more of a rugged look to it with its boxier proportions, lines, and more masculine overall styling. As we come in and take a look at the wheels, again, we have the top SX Touring trim, so we have these nice black and machine-faced wheels wrapped in Continental ProContact tires, and we'll talk about how those handle and perform when we get out on our test road. As we pull out to the profile, this is not the first Niro we've had. I do believe it is the 3rd, and they have done away with that black sail panel behind the rear doors. It is now body color, which I think works very well with this runway red, and to lean into that SUV-like design language a little bit more, we do have a lot of gloss black around the wheel arches and that big gloss black panel down low. Again, I think they're leaning less car, more SUV with this, even though it is really just a hatchback. As we pull around to the back, you can see we get those blade taillights up on either side of the rear window, but perhaps my least favorite design choice that we see on a lot of Kia Hyundai products is the low mounted turn signals. They are down in the bumpers. They are fully LED turn signals, but they are down in the bumpers. And here in East Texas, that could be a problem because we do have a lot of lifted trucks on the road here, and those may just be a little bit harder to see. I would love to see some way that to incorporate them here in the actual taillight in this upper portion right here. And while yes, you may see some flashing on screen, that is simply due to the change in refresh rate between the LED brake lights and my camera. Now, while I'm up here, I do want to also show you this is a functional air pass-through that does allow air around the vehicle to help with overall aerodynamics. So yes, there is some daylight shining through right there. That is a little easier to see in the direction air would typically be flowing. Now, this does have Kia's smart hands-free liftgate, which will allow you to just stand at the back of the vehicle with the key in your person. It'll beep a few times to let you know, hey, I'm about to open, but because I have the vehicle running, because it's nice and warm outside, I want to keep the inside cool. Well, that's not going to work for me here while I'm filming. But when you do open up the back, you do get a nice sized cargo compartment, though it is smaller than that Kia Sportage I keep referencing. Again, you will sacrifice a little in overall size to go with an obviously smaller vehicle, but because it is a hatchback instead of an SUV, the lift in height is better than what you would get in a Sportage, and there are still some unique features you get here in this Niro, like the fact that we have a false load floor that underneath, yeah, we don't get a spare tire in here, but we do get a fix-a-flat kit. But like on the Sportage, like on a lot of Kia products, you can pull this out and drop it down for some additional rear cargo space. So now the cargo floor is lower. If you've got something in here, it's not going to roll out as soon as you open the hatch. But you can see this last section here does actually ramp up towards the back seats, so that if you do fold the back seats down, you still have a fairly nice transition. You don't have that big bump of the back of the seats, which unfortunately there are no remote latches to fold the seats down, but it is such a short reach that it's very easy to fold these seats down from right here without really doing too much work. And now you can see we have even more cargo space back here, which is very nice. And then again, you see how it ramps up to that back section. But if you don't like that, or you just want to have this in one standard position, you can lift it up, and now we have more of a flat transition between the load floor and the back of the seats. And you have all this additional underfloor storage here. You can see there is a lot of sound deadening material down here. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, while we're driving as well. We do have some storage cubbies down on either side of this rear cargo area as well, that allow you to put some smaller things without worrying about them rolling around. And then as we look up at the hatch, it opens just over my head at 5'10". We do have this button right here, or a handle to close it, but since it's a power operated hatch, I will push that button. It beeps a couple times to let you know it's coming down, and closes rather quickly. Before we climb in this one, I do want to show you the key. It is Kia's old detonator style key. They have redesigned it for newer models, but the reason it's called a detonator style key is the lock button right there. Then you have unlock, your hatch release, your panic button. You can deploy a physical key right there, and remote start is here on the front. But it is a proximity key. You can just keep it in your pocket, your purse, wherever you normally keep your key when approaching a vehicle. And it is a completely passive entry system, so all you have to do is walk up. Actually, before you even get to it, it knows, hey, you're here, and power extends the mirrors. But then you just touch the door handle and it unlocks, and then you can open it up. You can lock it by pressing that area right there. It will power power fold the mirrors. I will note though, that is only on the front doors, not the back doors. So if you need to get in the back, you're going to be grabbing the front door and then moving to the back door from there just to load up a kid. When you do open the doors, this top SX Touring has the SynTex synthetic leather seats and a lot of nice luxurious amenities. You've got this waterfall-like control panel going down the side. You can see you've got your power window controls, power lock, windows, seat memory, two-person seat memory, express up-down for the front seats, just power windows for the back, and then a window lockout button right there. The only thing I don't like about all of this is the fact that we have this massive gloss black panel here where my knee typically rides, so there's a lot of smudges on there typically. Moving down a little bit further, we do have a Harman Kardon sound system that works pretty good. We have a little bit of storage down here, a little bit of storage up here, but overall that waterfall design is a very unique one. We'll take a look over at the passenger seat to see exactly what that looks like inside when the vehicle doors are closed. You can see we have a multi-way positional driver's seat with two-way lumbar. It is a power driver's seat, but the passenger seat is fully manual. Again, it's typical of what you get in this class and in this price point. These seats are very comfortable. They are heated and they are ventilated, but like I said, they are SynTex synthetic leather. We'll go ahead now and climb in and sit behind the steering wheel. And I will note that the seat automatically moves backwards for better ingress and egress. When you close the door, you may have seen it moved me forward just a little. Because of the proximity key, I just put my foot on the brake and push the engine start button right there. Nothing really happens because again, we are in a hybrid. You can see the engine isn't actually on, but the vehicle turns on, the AC turns on, which is very welcome here on this warm day. It says 94. I don't know if I believe that entirely. I think it's a little bit warmer than that, but it is a nice readout there that gives me a lot of information. Let's talk a little bit about screens. We do not have a head-up display in our model, but that's okay because moving down, we have the simulated 10.25-inch digital screen here with a 4.3-inch center helper screen. So this portion out here and this portion out here is not a real full digital screen. It does just have this Casio-like LCD display on it, but this 4.3-inch center section does have various different pages that you can page through to give you different information on the vehicle itself, including your trip info. You can see, yeah, that's not exactly accurate. Let's go back to it. I have been sitting here in idle for a little bit, so we are getting over 40 mpg in this one, but yes, sitting here in the heat idling has ruined my economy just a little bit. But coming to the steering wheel, it is Kia's older steering wheel. We saw this in the pre-refreshed EV6. We're seeing this in a few other of their vehicles, but they are kind of moving away from this design. It is a single spoke, but we've got this shiny satin bit around right here. That just gives it a little bit of class and style. You can see we have all of our ADAS, our lane centering right here, our controls for our adaptive cruise control right here, and then our volume and tuning right there, which is very welcome indeed. And it is all quick access. The steering wheel is nicely padded and very thick rimmed. It does give off a very premium appearance. Starting over my left knee here, we have our brightness control for our gauge cluster. So you can see I do have it turned up to 100. We have our hatch button right here, 12-volt battery reset, and traction control button right there. And then we do have a fuse panel right here for those of you very curious about what is down there. Our hood release is over there. As we move to the steering wheel, we do have our drive mode button right here. We have Eco and Sport, and you can see it changes colors depending on what drive mode we're in. Moving over here, we have a 10.25-inch infotainment screen with wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Again, showing a little bit of the age of this vehicle. Not only is it wired, but it's USB-A interface, not USB-C. We do have USB-C for power, but a USB-A wired interface for the CarPlay and Android Auto auto phone projection. Otherwise, you can see a typical Kia layout here. We do have quiet mode, which moves the sound to the front seats if you've got a little one napping in the back. Auto dimming rear view mirror. There's no actual physical switch here. There is no camera or anything built into it. You can see very decent visibility out of that back window, even though it is a little bit small. One thing that I complain about every vehicle it's in, it's even in that Sportage we recently drove, is this dual function screen here. You can see right now it's the dual zone climate controls with our temperature controls here on the outside. But if I hit this button here, now it's volume and tuning, and it never seems to be on the right screen no matter what. And you can see right now it's scheduled to go back to HVAC after being left idle. So just be aware that sometimes you may reach down to control the knob and it may do something other than what you want it to, but there are voice controls, there are steering wheel controls, there are options, but just know that Kia themselves are moving away from this. The Kia K4, the EV4, the EV9 are all moving away from this style, and they're putting a little helper screen in between their two 12.3-inch screens here on the dash. So just something that the brand is moving away from, but we still see it here. We still see it in the Sportage. Moving down, we do have a Qi wireless charger with some cooling vents in it. It has mostly worked for me, but again, since we have wired CarPlay, I'm really just charging via my wire more than anything, which is the faster way to go. Engine start button here, lots of gloss black. Not a fan. It really just has smudges and dust and dirt and scratches. Not my favorite. But down here you will find our heated and ventilated seat buttons. They don't remember where they were every time you cycle the vehicle's power on and off, so you will have to turn that on anytime you get in the vehicle, which I can already feel the effects of it from just turning it on. It is nice and warm outside, and they are doing a great job. Heated steering wheel, auto brake hold for if you're in stop and go traffic, electronic parking brake here, quick access parking camera. Though we only have the federally mandated backup camera, we do have parking sensors in this one to help it aid in parking, but only a rear backup camera. You get a full 360 again if you step up to the Sportage. I really do like the gear selector here in this one. If you put it in reverse, again, you do trigger that backup camera. You can see we also have front and rear parking sensors in this, so that is nice. And the way it is currently set up, yes, the doors lock and unlock when you take it in and out of park. Moving back here, we have multiple ways to use this storage space. You can open it wide up and just have an open area, or you can push these buttons and have your cup holders deploy. They don't have any little grabbers here, so if you've got a drink that is smaller than this opening, it will rattle around on you. And then you've kind of got this awkward space shape back behind it, but it does a good job of holding stuff. Then opening it up, you can see we have a detachable storage right here, so you can really open this up, or you can at least leave this partitioned off back here in the back. It is a little on the small side, but with it open, it gives you a nice overall storage. This doesn't slide or move or anything like that. Moving over to the dash, we have more gloss black, but we have some ambient lighting back here that you can adjust through the screen here, the different colors, a lot of different colors. And then a decent sized glove box, but it is full of stuff, including the massive owner's manual and such in there. But we'll go ahead and close that. And then again, you can see that waterfall-like design of the front door panels, but big storage pockets down there. Coming to me, I've got plenty of headroom at 5'10". I do have the seat down in its lowest position, but I really like the space in here. It is big and boxy, which works well. And then we have a manually sliding sunshade over the regular sized sunroof here, no big panoramic roof. And a very interesting material here on the ceiling. It's kind of like a reclaimed, recycled material that I think is very interesting in nature. Some people get really picky about their headliners, but I've got no real complaints here. Then we do have adjustable seatbelts on both front seats. Moving to the back doors, like I said, the front doors are the only ones with the proximity sensor on them, so you will need to pre-unlock these back doors to get into them, but when you do, they open up nice and wide. Should be easy to install a child safety seat. I will be installing Tucker's child safety seat back here in our family video, so you'll want to be sure and hit the subscribe button. I do have it sitting right over there. I will be filming that momentarily here in the East Texas heat, but I do like how the design back here does not include that waterfall-like design on the door. It's more of a traditional door armrest with some padding here with a unique texture. We do have a little storage there and a little bit of storage down there. The seats are the same Syntex that we see up front, a dual tone design, which I like. They are not heated or ventilated, but they are perforated, which is very nice. We have lower latch points on both of the outboard seats, and as you saw, they are 60-40 split, with the 40% over here not my favorite because we typically put Tucker's child seat on that side, so it will mean that we have the smaller opening if his child seat is in place. The backs of these front seats, we do have this hand grip for getting in and out because there's no B-pillar. You can also probably hang a bag or a purse back here if it's got a big enough handle, but big hard plastic seat backs, hard plastic seat pockets back here as well. We do have USB-C power on the backs of both front seats, which is nice. We have air vents in the back of the center console, which I love, and I can already tell you are working quite well for cooling off this rather small interior, so I appreciate that a lot. We do have a center tunnel here for cramping rear legroom, if you will. So if you have 3 across back here, the center seat is a little narrow and the foot space is limited. Speaking of the center seat, we do have a pull down armrest with 2 cup holders, no rubber grippers, and a hard plastic bottom. So if you use this for storage, it is going to rattle on you. We do get an adjustable headrest in the center and a seat back mounted seat belt here on the 60% side of the back seat. Then coming to me, plenty of headroom back here. I'm very comfortable. Again, the boxy shape really does mean I have plenty of space back here in the back. It doesn't recline, but all the way around, I'm pretty comfortable back here. Now that we're inside and I've got my GoPros hooked up, I could plug in my iPhone and show you, yes, CarPlay works as you'd expect on this rather smallish via modern Kia products. 10.25 inch screen. Yes, most of their newer vehicles have 12.3 inch, and it's made a little bit obvious here when you're in CarPlay. Otherwise, you saw all the activities and stuff that you could do throughout the screen otherwise. But yes, to actually access CarPlay, you do need to be plugged in via that USB-A cord. And now would be a good time to talk about the fact that yes, we are 0 to 60 testing this hybrid that gets over 40 mpg. Thanks to our partners with RaceBox, you can get one of their GPS race timers, lap timers, for yourself and save 15% off in the process by using the discount code and the link in the video description down below. But let's go ahead and set off in this one. We'll put it in drive. I'm actually going to hit the drive mode button here on the steering wheel to put it in the one other drive mode, which is sport. So we have eco and sport. And it'll be interesting to see exactly how quick this naturally aspirated 1.6 liter is, because this is the same essentially 1.6 liter that we see in products like the K4 GT Line Turbo, except that one is turbo, non-hybrid, and has the exact same amount of torque as we have in this hybrid non-turbo version. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how those stack up and compare to one another when we get this out on the road. So we will come out to our normal little stretch of runway. We will come to a complete stop here. Again, I'm in sport mode, standing on the brake with my left foot, standing on the accelerator with my right foot. Absolutely nothing happens even in sport mode, and we lift off the brake. Ramps into the power. It's not like immediate or instantaneous, but does set you off rather quickly for what this vehicle is. 8.99 seconds 0 to 60 in this one. So not GT Line Turbo quick. This is still a 40 plus mpg hybrid. After all, I'd say for normal round town driving, that is completely acceptable. No, you're not going to be brake torquing it every single time. We will test this again at the end of our drive loop in more normal settings. I'll even leave it in eco. We won't brake torque it. We'll give it a couple more runs to see kind of more real world what you would see if you bought one of these. But suffice it to say, it's plenty quick. Yes, it could have more power. The Sportage hybrid that I recently tested for 2026 is the turbocharged hybrid version of this 1.6, and it does have more power and feels a little more spry and peppy than this, but I'd still say this is still very good, very quick for a small little hatchback like this is. As I've now put it back in Eco, this is where we see how those 18-inch wheels and tires handle road noise on this highly textured East Texas pavement. And yeah, we're getting a little bit of road noise. Again, this is very highly textured back road pavement here. Texas seems to think the more texture you put on the roads, the safer they are, which I guess is fairly true. We really have to worry about wet road conditions here more than we have to do snowy road conditions. So in a heavy rain, I do feel like you would still get quite a bit of traction here from this highly textured road surface. But that does mean, yes, we get a little more road noise in this. Even with all that extra sound deadening we had back there in the back, there is sound deadening throughout in here. But again, this is a 40+ mile per gallon hybrid, so weight is always a consideration. You don't want to add too much stuff to the vehicle because that brings down your fuel economy, and that kind of brings down your whole reason d'etre of buying this. So yeah, you really want good fuel economy, which we are seeing in this. I've had this running all afternoon as I've been doing my filming. We just did that 0 to 60 run. I'm still seeing a 35.2 since we took delivery of this, which is impressive, but I do have some more errands to run before we give this one back. Otherwise, driving it down my favorite back roads, driving it through town and running errands, this is a very comfortable vehicle. I actually took this one to the airport and back, and I'm just impressed with how comfortable it is. The suspension, I wouldn't say it's firm, but it's definitely not floaty. It does not beat you up at all. It is so well damped that I have no critiques or complaints. We do have some bumpy segments coming up here where we can really test out what it's like over rough sections, but for the most part, I've really liked the suspension in this. No complaints, no notes. It's not a race car. It's not a GT Line turbo anything, but it is well planted. It feels very confident to throw around in corners or just to take through the drive-through or the school pickup line, whatever the case may be in your daily life. When it comes to cruising around in this one, especially in stop-and-go traffic, that's where this hybrid powertrain really comes in clutch. It is a very seamless system, and it's very hard to tell when you're in EV mode and when the gas engine is actually working. The only way I can tell is actually via the tach here in front of me when it goes to 0.0 to let me know the engine isn't actually working. Yes, I've got EV lights and a bunch of indicator lights here in front of me letting me know, but I really can't tell from the sound of it or from the feel at the gas pedal or anything when we are powering along in EV mode versus gas mode. It really is a very smooth, seamless system as it switches between hybrid and EV only, gas only, whatever the case may be. It works very well, very seamlessly, and I'm very impressed with it. It's not noisy in here whatsoever when it comes to the engine. I think it's even quieter than some Toyota hybrid products, which we are also testing while we have this. It really is quite the system that if you want a quiet, comfortable commuter that does not just drink the gas, this really is a good system. It doesn't leave you really wanting for power. And like right now we're cruising and the engine is off, like completely off, and we're moving around just fine. And even when the engine does come on, it doesn't really go much above 2 grand on the RPMs. So it's not like it's revving and making a lot of noise on its own anyway. And again, it's a really good system all the way around. And I've found that most of my time in this, the engine's mostly been off. It has been a very good system, very efficient. And before filming today, we were seeing north of 40 mpg in our test loop of this one. When it comes to visibility, I already showed you we only have the backup camera, and because we don't have the full digital screen here in front of me or the 360 cameras, I don't get those blind spot cameras when I put my blinkers on, but that's okay because I do have blind spot warnings with indicator lights on both of my mirrors. I get audible warnings if I put my blinkers on when somebody's in my blind spot, so I've got all that going for me. The visibility is fairly good, though the C-pillar back there is rather chunky and does kind of cut down on rearward visibility, but this does have rear cross traffic alert. So that does help with backing out of parking spaces, which has been my problem with my daily driver that doesn't have a backup camera or backup sensors. So this one really does fix that with the technology. Otherwise, yes, completely calm, comfortable commuter for sure. This runway red really does have a strong presence to it when you are just driving it around. It really gives this little Niro more style than it had even to begin with. Not to say that it is an unattractive vehicle at all, but everybody is calling that new Toyota Prius sexy, and this is really the biggest competitor to that Prius. And I feel that it is more practical than the Prius thanks to its more boxy SUV-like shape. It gives you more storage capability back there in the back, and because you have that boxier shape versus that sloping rear hatchback roofline of the Prius. This also doesn't carry some of the same stigma that the Prius has carried over its life here in the States. So yeah, you can kind of sidestep all of that. Though the Kia Niro does kind of fly under the radar in Kia's own lineup. Really, this is more of a hatchback, and Kia did just announce the K4 hatch is coming to the States. Holly and I got to check that out in Detroit. We haven't got to drive it yet, but again, this has the same amount of torque as the GT Line Turbo will have. So it'll be interesting to see how these stack up head to head, especially given the fact that the mission of this one really is efficient, moving down the road with a lot of storage space back there in the back. Now that we're getting to the end of the twisty bit, we're going to do a couple more 0 to 60 runs. This time we're going to leave it in eco. We're not going to brake boost it or anything like that. We're just going to set off from a stop how you typically would in normal traffic. We'll come to a complete stop here. I'm going to move from the brake to the accelerator. Ready, set, and go. Still ramps into that power. It's not instantaneous. We do have turbo lag in the sense that we are waiting for that hybrid powertrain to spool up, but yes, 11 seconds there. Not our best, but we were going uphill slightly. I'm betting we can do better going downhill in the other direction just to kind of even it out just a bit. It is a slight slope, but yes, we were going uphill slightly. Now we're going downhill slightly. Again, we're going to do the same thing in reverse. Full stop, ready, set, go. It ramps into that power. That turbo is coming from the hybrid powertrain, and that really helps ease you into it. Yes, a full second slower, or yes, we're quite a bit quicker here, 9.55. So that 11.3 really, I do believe, was a fluke. I don't know if it was the GPS system or the fact that we were going uphill or what, but yeah, 9.55 in normal hard acceleration in eco mode, which is not terrible, again, for a vehicle that is slated to get over 40 mpg in city driving and highway driving, to be a really efficient vehicle. Even with all that, I have increased my efficiency back up to 36.4 since I started this review. So I am impressed with this platform. If you want to know more from this vehicle or what else we are testing, absolutely hit the subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified when future videos drop from us. Holly will be behind the wheel of this one next. Tucker will be back there in his child safety seat. I will install Tucker's child safety seat in our family review of this, which is coming out next. And you can also see all the future things we test. You can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me and this very calm, comfortable, compliant 2025 Kia Niro Hybrid SX Touring, until next time, gearheads, bye.